People on social media are reacting to a member of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Kabiru May Palace, and his alleged decision to launch a rehabilitation of cemeteries in Gusau and Shafe local governments in Zamfara state. In pictures reposted on X by the Lawmaker, a user notes a cemetery renovation project with the Honorable May Palace present to ensure the project's progress. Another post on the Lawmaker's account shared these pictures, saying that the Lawmaker visited this cemetery to encourage the people working on the cemetery's renovation. But in a post on X this morning, Kabiru denies saying he is fixing 80 cemeteries in his local government area, saying, "In my constituency, both Gusau and Shafe have not had more than 20 cemeteries. Where did you get 80 cemeteries? Where did I write or mention this as my constituency project?" It comes after a lot of backlash to the possibility of funding this cemetery renovation project, with one user saying, so he prefers to benefit the dead more than the living, despite the hunger and insecurity in the state. Another tweet saying, why not the hospitals and schools? One final user says, 80 cemeteries renovated in just one zone of a state that has 3 or more such zones. Truly, people in Zamfara are dying from hunger and insecurity. So I think, the reason why we're bringing the story to you today is because this lawmaker this morning is refuting these claims that he launched this renovation of 80 cemeteries. But Rufai, and I'll put this to you, the conversation around whether he did or he didn't goes to show just how much people are invested in what their representatives are or aren't doing in their government areas.
Oh yes, because that's the closest to the people. And you see, that's why I've always said this constituency project thing is a sham. What's my reference point? ICPC did a report about 4 years ago where they discovered that most of the so-called constituency projects were sham. During COVID-19, you remember, people stormed homes of these lawmakers and they looted this constituency project that was supposed to be for the people. They just store these things in their warehouses. This year alone, budget did a report saying over 11,000 constituency projects were highlighted. They're going to cost over 6 trillion. There were a lot of phony projects there. Some people have even argued that some lawmakers get billions in these constituency projects. To do what? To fix cemeteries. Sorry, did he say the picture is AI? Can the producer show the picture again?
No, it's not AI. I think he was...
No. FEMA, where? FEMA. FEMA, where? Show me the picture again, please.
From his X profile this morning.
So let's see the project. FEMA, where? I cannot see a project citation there, in all fairness to him, where it has anything to do with graveyard. So, but the graveyard of people is not supposed to be the concern of constituency lawmakers. But in all fairness to him, I've not seen a project disposition that shows that they were fixing graveyards. I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have facts, I don't like to say. But the disposition is supposed to be the impact in the lives of the people. You've talked about schools. See, over 80, close to 80% of the primary healthcare center in this country are in a terrible position. Schools, equally worse off. Insecurity is so rife. 150 people were collectively kidnapped in Zamfara. They are negotiating their release as we speak. So you can see the kind of play that goes on. And that's why I've totally been against this constituency. There's no how the lawmakers are. I believe what they should do is, you can still have that money, but set up an impact mechanism in this committee where the people in the committee or the communities vote. We can even start it with a website or something where people in 774 local government and communities, thousands of communities in Nigeria, they can vote on the projects they want, and the impact committee will put a scale of preference to the project and get them done, rather than constituency project and you funnel it through a lawmaker. I've never always been in support of that, and I'll never be.
Okay, a footnote on the place of cemeteries. Cemeteries are, what do they call it? Social space, which construct part of the history of the community. Now, cemeteries are a place of rest for the dead. And I think as part of the historiography of every basic community, cemeteries, in fact, should be taken care of. So although the lawmaker may say, well, I'm not doing constituency project in the cemetery, we should remind ourselves that the dead are part of the community of the living. Now, many years ago, 35 years ago, I wrote a PhD thesis, 36 years ago. I wrote a PhD thesis. One of the chapters was on thanatomimesis. So I had to do a lot of research into death and dying and places of burial and all of that. And I think that it's nothing to be ashamed of. If you say, okay, you are trying to, take care of the dead. In some other societies, the space between the living and the dead, they are merged. That's why people go to cemeteries abroad and they are going there, to have picnic, to read books and all of that, because it's part of the construction of memory, part of the process of a community's remembrance structure. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. If he has not done projects in the cemetery, he may consider it, or other lawmakers may consider that as part of this theoretical background that I have given.
Yes.
Wow. Definitely learned something there.
Although it was widely reported by several by several
reported that he did
platforms
something.
that yes,
That he
by
did.
several credible platforms. I mean, he's
That he
refuted it, fine,
Yes.
but several credible platforms have reported on this issue.
If you don't understand sarcasm,
No, it's not sarcasm. No, I'm telling you about a subject that
I know it's a subject
I've done a lot of research into.
So, but as a governor, if you become a governor, you will renovate.
No, the living and the dead, must have this.
Just answer. As a governor, will you project of renovating cemetery?
Okay. We'll cut this conversation short.
I know, I'm not saying it, but as a governor, will you be able to show off that you are renovating cemetery?
We'll cut this short.